Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and it's time for another story time with Leslie. Today's story is The Vampire, the Princess, and the Black Knight by Leslie Boyden. Cover courtesy of Microsoft Clip Art. I wrote this in the 4th or 5th grade. Yes, 4th or 5th grade. The Vampire, the Princess, and the Black Knight by Leslie Boyden. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom called Wattsworth. The King Watts was a greedy and selfish king. One day, a vampire came to the king and asked if he could have some food. The king was very smart, but not that smart. The king forgot that all vampires were good in Wattsworth. The king didn't want to kill the vampire because killing vampires was bad luck. Good thing he remembered that. So the king went to the basement to the wizard. They keep the wizard in the basement? Really? I want a potion that can make people the opposite of what they do now, said the king. Like what? Asked the wizard. Well, good and bad, he said. Okay, it'll take me 5 minutes. Good. Once the potion was done, the king gave it to the vampire and... What kind of a meal is this? The vampire yelled. The wizard heard the yelling and went upstairs. What happened? Asked the wizard walking up the stairs. Well, the king decided to give me an unpleasant meal, the vampire said. With his unkindness, he cracked his neck. Ah. Your firstborn daughter will be mine when she's 16. Now, good day. No, bad day. Then the vampire left. What did you do? The wizard asked. Stuttered the king. You gave him the potion, the wizard said. You didn't. He yelled. Vampires are good. Uh-oh, the king said. At least we won't have a baby, said the king. The queen came in. We're having a baby, she said. It's prophesied to be a girl. The king fainted. Later the wizard told the queen what had happened and what foolish mistake the king had made. Oh, honey, what are we going to do? She asked. I have an idea, he said, getting up from the floor. Henry, that's the name of the wizard, get me some anti-vampire cream, and Betty, you buy a locket. Okay, said the wizard, but you have to remember to ask the vampire where it came from before you let it in the castle. The king said. The wizard and the king worked all night to make the anti-vampire locket. 9 months later, the queen had the baby. I think I shall call you Sarah Watts, said the queen. 16 years later. Kara, come in, yelled the queen. 5 more minutes, mother, she said back. But when the Black Knight comes, get into the castle. Fine. Then he came. He had a rose in his hand. Everybody stayed in the house. A lovely rose for the lovely lady, he said. He always says that when he gives her a rose. She had not spoken to him since her father died, but today she felt like she needed to talk to someone. Thank you, she said. Well, I got to go. Bye-bye. Just then her locket fell off. Wait, you dropped something, he said. But it was too late. She was already in the castle. When Kara got to her room, the vampire came in. It wasn't a Wattsworth vampire, or was it? All vampires are not from Wattsworth and supposed to be in the kingdom, she said. She cried, Mother! Pack your things. You're not coming back, the vampire said. Your father was a fool, and that's why I'm here. He's dead, she cried, throwing a pillow at him. Then her mother came in. What's going on? She asked. I'm here for what I came for, he said. Now grab your things. Kara got her purse and dropped rose petals, hoping someone would find her. So the vampire took her and noticed the princess was dropping rose petals as they traveled. He immediately put a stop to that. That only works in fairy tales, you foolish girl! The princess wept. Later that day, the Black Knight came to visit the castle, which had housed the beautiful princess. Is Kara here? He said. No, go away. She has been kidnapped, she cried. Kidnapped? He yelled. By who? Why do you want to know? She said, wiping a tear from her eye. Oh, I really like your daughter, and I'll do anything to get their kingdom's crust. Come in, said the queen. A vampire has our daughter. A what? He asked. Her father gave a potion to a vampire in order to make him the opposite of what they do, she told him. So what does that have to do with Kara? He asked. Unfortunately, it made him evil. So he said that he would take the first girl when she's 16. So we made her a locket so he could protect her from vampires. But it's missing. I have it, he said. She dropped it, so I came here to return it. That's why she's been kidnapped. Now what should I do? Go save her, she said, and pushed him out of the castle. What do I do with this locket? She asked the Black Knight. Give it to her and make sure she doesn't take it off. At that moment, the Black Knight saw a trail of rose petals, and he followed it on his horse. But the rose petals stopped at a cave. The cave was dark, and the only things that he could see were bright yellow eyes. They were bats. Not just any bats. Vampire bats! Real vampire bats! But they weren't even attacking him. They weren't even awake. He remembered the locket and began walking, when suddenly, ah! He yelled. He was falling down a hole. When he got to the bottom, he saw something and went closer. Black Knight! Said a voice. It was Kara. Help me! The vampire's coming! Here, take this. He handed her the locket. He will be here any minute. Oh, he will be here any minute, said Kara. He won't get you if you're wearing this locket. But what about you? She asked. I'll be fine. Now go. You're not going anywhere, said a voice. The vampire was coming his way, so he took his sword. Then the vampire took a piece of rock and sharpened his teeth. The knight and the vampire were fighting. Finally, the knight threw his sword at him, and he turned to dust. The knight kissed Kara, and he took off his helmet. Hold on. The knight kissed Kara, then took off his helmet. Eric, she cried. You're the Black Knight! Yes, Kara. Will you marry me? Oh, yes, she said with a tear in her eyes. 1 week later, they were married. Love conquers all. The end. Then I drew a picture. The hair's a lot better in this one than my previous pictures. Yep. Vampire, the Princess, and the Black Knight. It's a long one. Sorry if you had to listen to this. My mom actually typed this for me, and so that's why I was messing up with the dialogue, because it was a mess because she put it all in one paragraph, and we didn't know proper writing format back then, so it kind of sucks. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click subscribe or follow me on Twitter at LA Boyden, or my blog, Reading, Writing, and Chocolate, at blogspot.com. Bye now.
In times of sunshine, no crazy weather, it's all that really